Usually it takes a couple of YouTube realizes that we are actually going live, so just a few seconds more and we are there. Yes, and we definitely are live. So, prima un paio di paroline in italiano, visto che comunque la maggior parte dell'audience che segue 𝗏𝘁 Caffe è italiana. Oggi abbiamo una puntata un po' speciale, sarà una puntata soprattutto in inglese, perché parleremo di come lo spazio cripto, in particolare su Dash, si sta sviluppando nel mondo, in particolare nel Sud America. E per parlare di questo abbiamo un fantastico ospite con noi, che è Rodrigo, detto anche Rodrigo DIgital, che viene direttamente dal Brasile. How, Rodrigo, how are you?
Very good, thank you. And I should be speaking in Italian because I am Italian, my family is from Italy, but I can understand Italian, but I don't speak much.
Okay, so here, this is the moment where I try to embarrass myself, because sabe que uma vez eu parlava português também?
Fala português, sim.
Falava.
Falava português, there you go. Sim.
Agora são 40 anos que não fala. Vivia no Rio de Janeiro, que estava pequeno, dos 2 a 8 anos, mas não lembro nada.
Fala português muito bem.
Tem que aprender tudo. Tem que aprender tudo desde. But that's basically is because I can't go any further with that without embarrassing myself beyond any plausible limit. So, by the way, your English is fantastic. I could not tell you are from Brazil from the accent.
Yeah, well, complicated. My family migrated from Italy to Brazil, but I grew up in Czechoslovakia. Then I migrated to Canada, and then Holland, and then Mexico, and US. So I've been pretty much everywhere.
A globetrotter.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, a citizen of the old world, which is now leading us to the new world, because you are involved in the Dash community, is it?
Correct. I heard about the Dash community back in 2016 just by searching videos on YouTube. I came across a channel called The Daily Decrypt with Amanda B. Johnson, where she used to talk about crypto in general. And I like her style of presenting and teaching people, the basics of crypto. It was a very simple, very direct. And then later she actually ended up closing her channel and open a new channel called 𝗏𝘁, focused 100% in Dash. At the same time, I left the job that I hated, working in an office in a little cubicle, and I reached out to her and said, hey, how about if I create a channel like yours, but in Portuguese for Brazil? I speak Portuguese. And then I started making a couple of videos in Portuguese, teaching people about blockchain and Dash and what's capable. And then I presented proposals asking for Dash, the community, to sponsor the project, and we've been growing for almost 4 years now.
Cool, great. So this is basically the way that you got to Dash. So funny question. Usually people get into crypto and they all start with Bitcoin. It sounds like you started from Dash instead. So this is not exactly what happens most of the time. So what was your experience? Did you hear about Bitcoin? Did you make a comparison between the two? Did you have any, I don't know, way to balance up the opportunities and possibilities one of the other, and then you made the choice? Or how was that thing? How did it happen?
I started with Bitcoin. This was back in 2014 as an immigrant living in different countries. I was looking for a way to send money back to my dad in Brazil. And I remember opening a bank account in the US at Citibank, and the girl at the Citibank said, yeah, no problem, just go to Brazil, and then you can withdraw your money there. So when I got in Brazil and I had money on the Citibank in the US, I was supposed to open another bank account in Citibank in Brazil and do an international transaction. But then I couldn't do it because I wasn't working in Brazil. So I was not allowed to open a bank account in Brazil because I didn't have a job there at the moment. I had money stuck inside a bank for 6 months that I couldn't get it or transfer. And I thought it was the most ridiculous way ever. And I Google how to send money to another country without using a bank. and I came across a Bitcoin video, Roger Ver talking about Bitcoin, and I thought it was crazy. I'm like, oh, that's not possible, you know. And then there was a part where he was scanning a television, you know, he was in Japan and someone was in Australia, I think, and he scanned the television, like, I'm gonna send Bitcoin to that guy in Australia through the television. I'm like, how can this is it's crazy, it's impossible, you know, it doesn't work. So I didn't understand Bitcoin, but I started reading more, learning more, and that's how I was like, oh, you know what, this thing is actually I'm a technical guy, not a developer, but even though I'm a technical person, and I'm like, wow, this is actually gonna really change a lot of things. And in my job that I didn't like, I was just bored the whole time. All I did was watch videos and read about Bitcoin and crypto, and that's how I came across the Daily Decrypt and the Dash community. And then I thought it was a better model where users get rewarded to process transaction, where the whole ecosystem is self-sustained because Dash has its own treasury, so it doesn't need to ask money from other people or organizations or volunteer. You know, everybody or every miner helps generate 10% that goes to an account, and then the master nodes decide where to spend this money. So I thought it was a very complete ecosystem, and I dove head first, and I'm like, I'm gonna see this as a full-time job, how to work for a bunch of computers that I don't know who they are, but that's how we are changing, you know, that's how we are creating the new economics, the new future, the new way we interact with people.
Great. Now, it remembers me of my own story, because actually most of the details exactly are the same, and I guess it's the same thing for a lot of other people. So you start hearing about this crazy idea. For me, in my situation, I did not believe it at all. It was just, you know, too good to be true. It seems to go against the law of physics or everything that I studied before. I'm a technical guy myself also, and it was like, no, the thing cannot work. And after that, you realize that this crazy idea is actually working. And when you realize the potential, you say, okay, this is the lever we could even change the world with, because it's so powerful. It's actually changing a lot of stuff. So you're a technical guy, so you have a technical background.
Yes, I worked many years with broadcasting, telecommunications, video production. I work for several television channels and video productions worldwide. So I'm a technical guy on these aspects of missions, setting up broadcast rooms and things like that.
And that's what brought you to do 2 different documentaries about
Dash.
Correct. All of them about Dash.
Correct. I shot 3 documentaries in total. 2 100% about Dash, and the third one more about the banking system and certain areas of Switzerland that promote crypto in a very, very fast way.
Cool. So how was shooting this documentary? Because I guess you did a lot of research. You had to find people, interview people. I mean, how much time did it take to you to prepare those, and what are the findings? Because I'm going to definitely leave the links under the description of this video so that people can look at your work. But how was it? What did you were able to bring to the screen about Dash?
Well, first of all, I think I did everything wrong on the documentary, because normally a documentary, you plan to do a documentary and then you have an idea what you have to do, right?
Okay.
So a beginning, a middle, and an end. I didn't plan to do the documentary about Venezuela. The community, the Dash community in Venezuela, invited me to go there to give a series of lectures about economy, about the Brazilian markets, also the Brazilian history of economics, where Brazil changed the money several times, had over 1 trillion% of inflation. We had a president that confiscated everybody's money from their bank accounts. So I went to Venezuela to do lectures about what Brazil did in the 80s and the 90s, and it was exactly the same thing that Venezuela was going through at the moment. But as a YouTuber, you know, I was like, oh, I'm going to actually pay my airplane ticket with Dash when I go there. And I recorded me doing that. I knew there was a couple restaurants, a couple businesses in Venezuela accepting Dash. So once I got there, I just started taking pictures and doing videos of me paying things with Dash on several different places. But on the second day, I already went through so many business and so many places that were accepting Dash that I was like, maybe I should create a video log of my experience in Venezuela paying everything with Dash. By the end of the week, I had about 50 hours of video and pictures just doing that.
Oh.
So once I got home, I'm like, I have a lot of material that I can actually put it together as a documentary. And then I decided to do a documentary. Then I had to do a little search about the economics and the history of how Venezuela became chaotic and disorganized, and then implement with my trip going to Venezuela and then the lectures. And that became the documentary called Venezuela and the Cryptocurrency Revolution, which I shot and played in 2018. Actually, if you can share my screen there.
Yeah.
And just last year, this website called Plot 11, which was a website 100% focused in Bitcoin documentaries, ended up adding the 3 documentaries. They reach out to me. They ask for permission to post the documentaries, of course, for legal copyrights and all that. And so actually, on this website, the documentary had more views than on my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the 3 documentaries there: Venezuela and the Cryptocurrency Revolution, who has 32,000 views; Colombia and the Cryptocurrency Revolution, 28,000 views; and then Switzerland and the Cryptocurrency Revolution, 37,000 views. And so this documentary, let me put here on the background so we can let's skip the commercial, because there's always commercials.
7 days experience.
Right, so let's put on the part where, and then we can talk, and then people can see like from my whole arrival and everything. So for me, it was just like documenting those videos of me arriving, paying, getting the taxi, getting to the taxi, going to the restaurants, meeting the community. So it was a fantastic, unique experience, but not everybody from the crypto community were aware of what was happening in Venezuela economically, and also regarding the crypto environment. And for me, it was actually when I saw the line, and I crossed the line saying, okay, there's this idea of crypto, internet magic money, but it actually works because I was there and I spent it. I had money in my wallet, and I pay for things, and people gave me items. And this network is not controlled by governments or any bank. So for me, it was like a really wake-up call of the potential of crypto. We would have needed that amount of money to pay for the taxi rides, like a stack of money. That's how low the Bolivar was at the time. And we ended up paying the taxi ride with Dash. That was the same taxi driver that stay with me the whole week. So every morning I would call him, he would come pick me up, and we go to several places. I always had someone from the Dash community in Venezuela help me as well. They didn't leave me alone. They always had people with me because of violence and protests. It was not an easy area. I actually ended up just staying on the middle class, upper class neighborhood. I didn't really go to the areas where definitely having a lot of protests because of safety reasons,
Yeah.
And it was amazing to see. Once I upload this on the YouTube channel, it took off. I was invited to speak on several other events in 2019 and a little bit of 2020. I visit 11 countries, and I gave over 40 lectures regarding the documentary, because it was very shocking for people. This is a line of people waiting for the bank to open so they can withdraw money. This is a video found on YouTube of a lady. She arrived late while the government was switching the new bills to the old bills, and she couldn't change her money anymore, so her money was just useless. And I still have here a stack of money from Venezuela. At the time, this was worth about 25 cents, and today is worth nothing. The government took off this money from circulation.
It's shocking.
Yeah. This is called the Bolivar, And now the new one, the Bolívar Soberano, is also going the same path because it's worth absolutely nothing. It's just a piece of paper.
That, you know what? I love this thing because when I talk about cryptocurrency to people, I always have this complaint like it's not backed by anything. Our economy is far more stable, so we don't need that. But the example that you are showing, it's literally unbelievable if you don't see it with your own eyes. So I guess this is the reason why people have this sort of mental barrier against cryptocurrency, because they think it cannot happen here. It's just, it's just happening on another corner of the world. This has nothing to do with us. It will never happen to us. It's almost unreal. It's almost a legend or something like this. But this is the reason why I like talking to people from the other side of the world, like we did last time with Giorgio Marinetti, which is working in Venezuela for Dash. So the idea is you have economies that can get so bad that the notes that you have in your wallet in that moment go to zero before you get to spend them. And they just end up being paper and nothing more than paper.
Correct. I mean, and this happened in Brazil. In 15 years, Brazil changed money 7 times.
I remember there was the Cruzeiro after the Cruzado.
Cruzado, Cruzeiro Novo, Cruzado Novo, Cruzeiro Real. One of the examples is this bill. My mom received this bill directly from the bank. This is late 70s. So it was supposed to be 10 Cruzeiros, but the government already had devalued the money the week before, so they were just stamping the money, saying now this is just worth 1 cent. Because they didn't even have money to print new bills, so they used the old bills in circulation and put a stamp, right? And just say, okay, now it's not worth 10 anymore. It's just it's just worth it 1 cent. And this happened 7 times in Brazil in 15 years. Right, and it's happening in Argentina now, in Turkey. It's got to happen probably in Brazil recently. The economy is plunging, and now United States printing $5 trillion in 1 year, which is 40% of the entire money in circulation. We might see this worldwide with the economy. It's very complex. It's very complex.
Let's just get back the two of us. So basically, the idea is, people refuse, they have this mental barrier, they refuse the possibility that it can happen to them, that can happen in their own home, but it almost already happened it sort of happened in Italy when we went from the lira to the euro. It was basically an exchange, but the prices went crazy for a couple of years. We could not understand how much we were paying for what and so on. So basically, what you're saying, what happens is that when the economy of a place gets so bad that even the money becomes just exactly what it is, worthless paper, then crypto is the edge against devaluation.
Correct. I mean, I don't tell people buy Dash, you got to make money, buy Bitcoin because you got to be rich, or Ethereum or whatever. I tell people, listen, there's a system that has a limit. Dash has 19 million units only. Bitcoin has 21 million units. Other protocols, they have another, a max cap. But in one side, you have one computer system that has a limit. And on the other side, you have the government with unlimited piece of paper.
Yeah.
And it's not very hard to choose which one.
No, exactly. I mean, we've been saying through the 2020 how it was easy to print dollars and how it was easy to print euros. We are seeing now where they are going. We see now that we have, let's say, rules on how you are allowed to spend them and where they like you to spend those money they give you. And it's make you question everything, because, what's the real value of money once you can print them all as many as you like whenever you need them. It's crazy. I mean, I try to explain this to my daughter. She's 5-year-old now, and I don't have a handle to the concept before. If I even try to present them her things and in a way that are meaningful, I don't have ways to explain this thing in a meaningful way, because the more I try to understand it, the more I find it has no meaning at all. It's definitely crazy.
Well, Europe went through this recently, or in Greece and Cyprus a couple of years ago, where the government say, okay, there's no money on the banks, and they had to put a limit of how much money
Corralito and in Argentina
from their own money. So in a way, if you put your money in the bank, it's not your money anymore. They will control.
Exactly. By the way, this is a law in Italy. There is a law in Italy for which if you open a bank account and you give them money, actually legally the money belongs to the bank. You have a contract with them, and they are obliged to give it back to you in the same amount, in the same quality and quantity. But actually, it becomes the bank belongs to the money in the moment you put them. And this is one of the things that I tell people, and when people usually don't know this, and when they know that they check and they see that it's true, that they start to panic. They say, what does it mean? It's not my money anymore. Along with all the people that still believe that there is a gold reserve that is sort of the very basics of every money, all bill is printed is equal to a fraction of that gold reserve, which is not true. People still believe this thing was from 50 years ago. So the idea is the more people are attached to, let's say, fiat money, traditional money, it means that they think that money is real somehow. They have this concept in their mind that money is real. And the idea is they take for granted a lot of things that actually are not so. And when they realize that, they sort of wake up, they freak out most of the time. And that's the moment when they start to turn to crypto, because they want something solid. There was something that has this meaningful. And I think it's fantastic that Dash is solving all those problems in Latin America, because I see there is a lot of use of Dash in Latin America, and this is great. You posted last time that a bank in Brazil was now allowing you also to have an account in Dash. They always have also Bitcoin and other, but they chose also Dash because it's so widely used on LATAM, right?
Correct. So we've been working with this bank for over 6 months now. It's a digital bank, so they don't have actually a physical location. It's all done online. And because it's a bank, you have to have all the regulations through the government, which means you have to give your name, your full name, last name, address, your government ID, tax number, or whatever the country calls, right? And you open an account so you can deposit and withdraw reais, but you also have a Dash wallet that you can deposit and withdraw Dash. They are the custodian of their wallet, but they also offer a debit card, and you can choose Dash to be your number one source of spending. So every time you swipe your credit card, your Visa flag credit card, it will liquidate your Dash into their stable coin automatically, and credit and debit from your account. It's a big step that allows people to use in more merchants, in any merchant that accepts Visa. And just going back about the banking system, Marco, that I tell people as well in Brazil, and this can be definitely valuable in Italy as well. If, for example, we organize that Monday, everybody in Italy at 11 a.m. go to the bank and withdraw 100 euros, there is no 100 euros for everybody, because the money we see in the bank is just a number on your screen. And in Brazil, for example, if I have 100,000 reais, which you can buy, you can buy a very expensive car, right? For example, my money, I declare, I have the proof from the tax government that is my money. I work for it. I pay tax, 100,000 reais. It's in my bank. If I go to the bank and say, I want to withdraw 100,000 reais, my money in cash, the bank will not allow me to take all my money out. They'll do everything possible for me to leave the money on the bank.
It's not that different here. I mean, in Italy, they try to be very polite. They try to understand why you need that money. It even happened to me that it was not 100,000 reais, and it was not that big. That much money could be about, I guess, €1,000 or €2,000, and I was closing an account, and I want to withdraw those €2,000, and say, why do you need them? Can ask, maybe we can lend you some money if you need money instead of withdrawing your own. It was a crazy situation. I have my money, but you are trying to force me not to take them back, and you instead want me to have a debt with you instead of using my own money. This is definitely insane.
And I tell people that I compare the banking system in Brazil in the 90s, late 80s and 90s. We had a lot of video store places that you could go rent a VHS tape to watch a movie, or you can rent a video game tape to play video games. And all this business, and they were everywhere in Brazil, all those business, they disappear, and they disappear very fast with DVDs and then later streaming. Nobody takes the car and drives and go to a store to rent a DVD anymore, or rent a VHS tape. You can actually watch everything online, and that's what's got to happen with the banking system. You don't have to go to the bank or drive and then go through the door and then see the manager. You do everything online, and even though there's the mutation from the bank system to the digital banking system, you can do everything with crypto today much better, faster, with less fees, and you control your money. And that's the biggest change that's it's happening.
It's happening, definitely. It's definitely happening, because I see more and more people that is getting tired, getting sick, also is getting afraid. They start to feel the fact that the foundation of this system are cracking a little bit. They are not so solid as they pretended to be. And people, it's not the best option, but fear is actually a good source of incentives if you need to learn something and to find an alternative to what you have and what you might lose. But getting back to your experience, so you said you basically was 1 week in Venezuela and you were almost able to do everything in Dash.
Correct. So, the community there took me to the places. It was not like I was walking around. Oh yeah, this place accept Dash. This place accept Dash. The people, they took me to the right places, to the right store, to the right hotel, where we could pay directly with Dash. And from that experience that I was documenting, taking pictures and videos of
but still, it's possible. You have to know where to go. You don't find them at any corner, but still it's possible. You even paid for the airplane ticket.
Correct. Airplane ticket, I use a website called CheapAir. CheapAir, they do accept cryptocurrencies for payments through another payment processor, a plugin that they install on the website. And I showed that on the documentary in the beginning, sitting down in my house and doing the whole transaction, paying for the tickets and all that. Okay. And this was 2018. Today, 2021, you have way more websites that you can pay with Dash and buy gift cards and book hotels and airplane tickets. In the US, in Europe is huge. There's the gift card industry in Europe is big. In the US is huge. In Brazil, it's growing as well. In Brazil, there's a lot of payment processors that allows me, for example, to pay my water bill or electricity with Dash or other cryptocurrencies. Of course, there's a fee. It's a little bit more expensive, but it's possible. So every year we see another sector of society accepting crypto. Every year there's more companies announcing. Every year there's more banks doing integration. So, if we said 2-3 years ago that JP Morgan was gonna offer investments in crypto, they're gonna laugh, and just this week they announced a basket of crypto to invest, and then I think in 5 years from now, things got to be completely different and to the better.
Yeah, definitely. I think so, and I also hope so. But this is another subject that I hear often is that if people that believes in cryptocurrency, especially like Bitcoin, in this moment when it's pumping, They say if you have Bitcoin, you don't spend it because you expect it to be more valuable tomorrow than it is today. But I see this is not the case with Dash, because they sort of have different approach to the value. I mean, it seems to me, correct me if I'm wrong, that Dash has this idea of trying to be every day's money for every pocket. So it's less prone to big dumps and big pumps of value, because the more stable it is, the easier it is to be accepted and used worldwide or on a daily basis. Is it so?
Oh, correct. And this is basically because of the technology and how the developers of the core team set up Dash since the beginning, where Dash has a secondary layer called the master nodes, and they're the ones in charge of processing the transactions. So there's no incentives for the master nodes to charge higher fees to process the transaction first, right? Because they already get rewarded from the miners, or the block reward is divided. In Bitcoin, while the miners get 100% of the block reward, in Dash, the miners get 1% of the block reward. The master nodes also get a percentage of the block reward, and then 10% still goes to the treasury to have money to pay for the developers to keep building, pay for marketing, pay for expansion, pay for technical analysis, and any other idea that the community can present. So doing that, you have the master nodes processing transactions at 1.5 seconds, charging a tenth of a cent. And the technology that they add on the top of this, the chain locks technology, makes it even harder for a 51% attack, because Dash being a hybrid blockchain, let's put it this way, where you have proof of work plus proof of stake coming from the master nodes, doing the chain locks and holding the transactions, allows this to be more secure than Bitcoin, because you have to control the blockchain or the master nodes proof of stake plus the miner's proof of work at the same time to try to consider an attack. And because of that, it makes it secure, faster, and the project has been growing, especially during the past 2-3 years, where we saw the decline of the prices for every single crypto. Dash as well lost some value, but still there was always the treasury funding the growth of the project. And now we've announced some great new aspects of the whole cryptocurrency, which is the Dash platform.
Yeah, I want to do a video specifically about that, because it seems very interesting under the technological point of view. By the way, I'm having so much fun because we are having comments both in Italian, in English, in Spanish. It's getting crazy. The chat is going crazy now. And I love it, because it shows actually what they were saying, that the cryptocurrencies are borderless. So why should we on the other side? So Dash has this vocation about being everybody cryptocurrency. So in every pocket being able to be spent for your groceries, for your taxi, for your hotel, and even plane flights. But I also know that Dash is doing something which I find it's heartbreaking. I mean, it's something that I like and love a lot. It's the Dash Aid program, because it is very developed. It's very spread along among those countries that had their economy shred apart, like Brazil, like Venezuela, like Argentina. And there is this deep commitment of the community for helping each other, which means onboarding new people that need a stable currency to use cryptocurrency, which is far more stable than the one they're provided by the state, and they are actually helping each other in many ways. Can you tell something about us about this thing?
Yeah. Also, Dash help, Dash text to the communities and proposal owners in Venezuela started organizing the Dash Aid, where they ask for donations to buy food supplies for some organizations they already have predetermined in Venezuela. It's a philanthropic project, let's put it this way. And what's interesting is that the community, not just the master nodes, right? But anybody on the Dash community normally supports with $2, $3, $5, $10. to those addresses, and you actually sending money directly to the person who's gonna buy the supplies, without a middleman, without organization, without bonus for the supervisors or marketing and all that. But what's more interesting is that, for example, Dash allows you to do that because you can send $1, $2, $3 to those addresses in Dash, and you pay 1 cent, less than a cent. In Bitcoin, if you want to send $5 in Bitcoin today, you're paying $10 in fee, or Ethereum, right?
Yeah,
and
or waiting an incredible amount of time.
Correct. So, and on this aspect, Dash, is superior because allows you to receive $1, $2, $3 in Dash, and the impact of $3 is huge in Venezuela, because a middle class monthly salary in Venezuela is about $3. So a family in Venezuela can live for a whole month with less than $3. A lower income, middle class. So if there's a €5, €2, €3 donation, which is very slow, but the network allows you to make a €2, €3, €5 donation, because you're paying only 1 cent.
Yeah.
And money is going in 1 second across the world directly to the person who is gonna buy the supplies and distribute it, cutting hundreds of obstacles in the middle. Because if anybody work for a philanthropic organization, if you make a donation with deposits, there's taxes that the government will charge, even though it's philanthropy. The government will take their cut. The organization that is organizing this will take their cut to pay for their salaries, their bonuses, their growth, their marketing. And in the end, if you donate $100, maybe $1 will get to the people that they really need. So once you have the communities organized in this kind of donation aspect, and any member in the world can donate as much as they can, but $1 will be more than enough per member, it allows us to rethink how philanthropy will be organized from now on. So this is the blockchain is also going to disrupt this type of business model, which helps. We know philanthropy helps in several aspects, but also they need money to be sustained, to sustain themselves.
Absolutely.
The blockchain is gonna, let's say, dry several areas of philanthropy and make it more dynamic and
transparent.
And the Dash Help and the Dash Help community is doing this and showing to everybody it is possible, and it's fast, and you can do it with $2, $3.
That's great. Yeah, it made perfect sense. I mean, you could use Dash on a day-by-day basis, and then maybe you store your Bitcoins for the next generation, or for when you have to buy a car or a house. So I mean, I see that they have different use cases and different. It's like having gold bars on one side and silver coins on another. You can almost do the same thing with it, but of course there is a very big difference.
Just to one thing you mentioned about buying a house and stuff, and let me sometimes think about, you see a lot of other communities, and one of the things I'm very proud of the community in Dash, because it's not an arrogant community. It's not a show-off community. I never saw anybody from the Dash community buying a Lambo and say, I bought a Lambo, or I bought this expensive thing with Dash. The Dash community is an extremely smart community. The community is very united. They're focused on building. They're focused on helping other communities grow. And this level of integrity is shown in a way that I haven't seen in any other community. And this was actually proved in a few proposals in a few months ago, where the master nodes had, for example, the option to change something in the system, and they would make more money, right, during the reorganization of the block, and they ended up voting no. They're like, listen, the treasury is supposed to be how it is. We don't want to make more money for ourselves. Live as it is, and we got to keep building. Everybody else adapt to our system. We don't have to change. And I think it shows the level of the integrity of the master nodes where they're like, listen, we want to make money, but we're not here just to make money. We want to build. We don't want to show off. We don't want to be arrogant. We want to build this together worldwide. And that's one of the reasons why the community.
I agree with that. One of the reasons why I got close to Dash is actually for the community. Actually, the first video that I made about Dash was what they asked me if I wanted to do one, and I was surprised by staying a little bit on the community about how those were just nice guys. They were not like fighting each other. They were not going to be maximalist and proposing like arguments like Dash is better than this, Dash is better than that, like make a war against this coin or this other coin. It's just like it's actually more a community. I had the feeling of Dash community being a real community, while on some other cryptocurrency you have this fight, this sort of religion fight from one another, which is something that I don't like very much. I mean, each project has his positive sides and his downside. They are tools. They are very useful if used for what they are meant for, or for what they are good of. There's no need to go just with one hammer because you like hammers and you forget about screwdrivers or other stuff. I mean, they are all tools. You have many options to choose in between. Rodrigo, this was actually fantastic. It was great talking to you. Is there anything else you want to leave us with, to tell us before leaving us?
I tell everybody, learn about how to download your wallet, how to secure your wallet. Only download wallets from the website dash.org. They have the official Dash wallet there, but they also recommend other wallets that you can keep Dash and other cryptos that are proved to be safe wallets, because it's important for you to have a secure wallet. Make sure you learn how to do your backups, store your 12 words, learn as much as possible. And as I tell people, I don't see cryptocurrencies as a way to make money, to be millionaire or be rich. I see as a way to protect the wealth you build, you know, and to store this against inflation, against government, against politicians, because in one side, you have unlimited piece of paper, and the other side, you have a limited digital cryptographic file, let's put this way, that can protect you from what's to come.
Great, definitely. Okay, Rodrigo, thank you very much. Muito obrigada.
Muito obrigado. Thank you.
Well, maybe we will talk soon. I will definitely like to do other videos about Dash, about the community. So, I mean, bring it. I'm here. I'm ready. If there is anything I can do, I will be more than glad to do it, especially for the Dash A, the initiative, and all the others. They are alike. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you also for all the people that chose to join us here. It was about 45 minutes about. So let's keep in touch. Let's keep doing great things together. Let's educate as much people as possible. Let's save them from fiat money, from banks, and let them make free. Let them have in their own hands their real money and their future. Rodrigo, thanks again. A big hug to the whole Dash community around the world, in Italy, and the Dash international community. See you at the next video, in the next time we will have the chance to talk together.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Ciao.
Ciao.